Hello and welcome to Rise Tribe. This is our very first podcast and I'm super excited. I'm here with, of course, the lovely Kirsty Kerrins and our very first guest, Lisa Hawkyard. Lisa and I have been friends for over 10 years. We've been on an amazing journey of personal growth and healing together and interacted with each other over the years. So I'm really excited for this. We're going freestyle and we don't quite know what we're going to be talking about yet. So here's our lovely Lisa. First of all, actually, Kirsty, would you like to say hi to everyone and then we'll bring Lisa in?
Yeah, hi everybody. Oh, this is so exciting. Myself and Sam have talked about a podcast for so long and we've finally got our asses in gear and we're doing it, which is it just feels so good and so in flow. So just really appreciate you all coming along for the ride. And as Sam said, this is going to be free flow. So buckle up, this could go anywhere. Lisa's just such a beautiful soul who is so open, and I'm just really excited for you to get to know her a little bit more like we know her. So yeah, over to you, Sam, to introduce Lisa.
Okay, so as I said, this is the amazing Lisa Hawkyard, and we had a little pre-chat before we came on. I was like, Lisa, how do you want me to introduce you? We don't have an introduction. Can I say a couple of things that we said? You're a recovering people pleaser was one of them, which I thought was hilarious. I said a reverse aging hippie. That would be another nice little title, right? And there was a couple of others. But Lisa, would you like to just give us a little intro and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Well, firstly, thank you, girls, for inviting me on. It's really lovely, really lovely. And I'm actually really flipping happy that you're doing this because you have been talking about it for a while.
Right.
So, so thank you so much. So, yes, I'm Lisa. Some people call me Lise. And I really am going through, I'm trying not to label myself because I think that's something that I've been wanting to shed for a long, long time because I think we all find ourselves going into a label mode and I don't want to be that person anymore. So I'm just really learning to be really true to myself and be whoever I need to be. And along the way, I've done coaching, I've done driving instructing, I'm a ex-nanny, I'm a nursery nurse, I'm all of these things, and I'm a parent. All of these things I think we can all relate to. But more than anything, I'm just learning how to be really honest and truthful to myself. And hopefully that will come across today. Because I think we're all at that phase, aren't we, girls? I think, let's face it, we're all at that phase now where we just want to be ourselves and really real. So that's where I'm at the moment.
Yeah, no, Lisa, I can totally relate to you because, you know, like when you talk about having labels, you kind of then feel that you have to act in a certain way and do the systems as that label dictates, and a lot of the time that doesn't resonate with us because that label fits for that person but not for everyone, and we're all not wanting to be squeezed into a box. So I think, you know, I can 100% relate to that, and I think a lot of our listeners probably can as well.
It feels a bit weird because, like, obviously coming on here, you know, like if we go through traditional podcasts, it's so and so, she does this and she doesn't, and it's like, oh, it feels really like icky,
contrived.
And it just feels a little bit strange not having that because we've all been programmed to do that. Does that make sense? So it's like, here I am. What you see is what you get, and it's kind of, that's where I'm at the moment, which is strange but lovely at the same time, a bit liberating but a bit strange as well. So yeah, it's all good.
I love that. That's liberating. And actually what you were just saying, because I mean we've all been down every rabbit hole of podcasts, right, with a lot of us, and that whole big like intro and this kind of drum roll and all of that sort of thing, it all just, you're right, Liz, it does just feel a little bit icky now, and I think we're all just a little bit over it, to be honest. So so no labels. I really, really like that. And the only label I'm really giving myself at the moment is soul warrior and flow, because that way I can just be whatever I want on any day. I'm just flowing with it. And I think we are all goddess warriors as well, to have journeyed through what we've done and come out as well as we are right now, right?
Know something as well, just recently, and even like my kids have picked up on it. My favourite saying, it is what it is. It is what it is. And I used to be like, when people used to say that, I'd be thinking, come on, give us a bit more. And it's like, no, it's just like, don't cut it straight. It is what it is, and it's it's almost like an acceptance of what it is, but you only make it what it is by the label that you give it. So don't give it anything, just it is what it is. So yeah, that's kind of
good one.
It's one of my favorites. I use that a lot. And also it is what it is to whatever our perspective is, and we get to choose our perspective.
Exactly.
So
and that can change every day, which is great.
Or every hour, actually, and that's also okay.
Yeah, maybe my title should be Minx, because I'm feeling minxy at the moment.
No, I've seen this Minx before.
I have no idea what you're talking about. What do you mean? Come on, let me in on this. Let us in.
You know, minxy, a little bit naughty.
Oh, right, okay, got you. Yeah.
I like being cheeky.
It's fabulous.
Cheeky one. Do you know what my favourite saying at the moment is? Isn't that interesting? You know, instead of like, oh my God, that's horrendous, or that's this or that, I just go, isn't that interesting? Because I think interesting opens your mind up to so much, but doesn't make it good, doesn't make it bad, doesn't, you know, judge it. It's just, that's interesting.
It's acknowledgement of something.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And maybe we've not quite decided how we feel about it just yet. It's just interesting. I love that. That's two of my favourites, I think.
I say that so much. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness.
Have a little tattoo. Interesting.
It is what it is. That's interesting. There we go.
Oh, I quite like that. I haven't got my tattoos yet that I've been thinking about for over 10 years. So I'm getting some practice henna ones from a lovely guy called Toto, I think his name is, in Ziwa. So yeah, it's just reminded me. So that's lovely.
Nice. Oh my goodness.
So
Lisa, as Rise Tribe is all about sort of personal development and, you know, really becoming the best authentic version of you, what got you onto that? I'm always really curious what got people onto this pathway and of like this self-development and this inquiring about who we are and how we can become our best version.
Okay, so for me, and Sam might remember this, so in 2012 I had spinal surgery, and it was basically, I had scoliosis, idiopathic scoliosis, which means they have no idea what caused it. I now have an idea.
Give it a fancy name and that'll baffle everyone.
Okay then. So I had spinal surgery and costoplasty, which basically my rib cage was reconstructed because I had a bit of a hump. So long story short, I was in recovery for actually 2 years because it didn't go quite to plan, and I had to learn to walk again, and I spent a lot of time just dealing with a lot of pain. And it was during that time that somebody in our circle was talking about The Secret. It's like kind of the bog standard, The Secret was the introduction. But I watched the film, and in the film, I was watching it when I was in bed, like recovering. And in the film was Bob Proctor. And he spoke to me, like he was like my granddad. He spoke to me. And I remember Googling Bob Proctor. And this is in the days where I didn't really use a laptop or a computer and blah blah blah. So it was like, oh God, I can do this. Anyway, long story short, I found the Proctor Gallagher Institute, and this is where Bob Proctor had all his courses, etc., etc. And I didn't even tell my partner at the time. I just whacked it on a credit card. I'm going to do this, and off I went down this rabbit hole. And it was fascinating, and I still use what I've learned. I've added to it. I've broadened my horizons with it. There's times where I've rejected it, but I now know why. That's your paradigm kicking up. So, we were saying it is what it is. So that is where it started in the recovery from the surgery. And I was determined that I would not fester on this surgery. It would be the making of me rather than my kids having to deal without a mum for 2 years in bed, blah, blah, blah. It was a really, really tough time. But I swear that through that mental strength, that's what's got me back. And I still struggle with it at times. I still struggle with it a lot, quite actually, but I don't talk about it. I just crack on, and I deal with it privately. So that is where it all started. And then of course you go onto the magpie effect of, oh, what else can I do? What else can I do? And I did all these courses and all sorts of bits and bobs. I went over to Canada, went to LA, went to Bob Proctor's house, like literally all in there. And it was amazing, and it still is. And what's really interesting is I refer to it more now than I ever have done, because I get it now. I really get it now. Whereas at the time I was thinking, oh, I am way out of my depth with this. And it's only because I now realise I didn't have a level of awareness, whereas my awareness has expanded a lot since then. So that's kind of where it started. And that is also how it kind of led on, little segue, to meeting Sam, because we just happened to be on a course together, didn't we?
Yeah. So when was that? Because we always say 10 years, but maybe was it 2013?
2013, 2014, maybe?
Yeah. So we met in central London.
Yeah.
On a coaching course. It was a 2-day event or something. We got absolutely drenched in the rain. It was hilarious. We just connected. I kind of went and stood where Lisa was, and then we just went, hello.
Like that, like an angel, she just appeared in like a little
and
I actually remember you two meeting. Sam, you know, Sam sharing with me that she'd met this amazing Lisa, and you know, like you just connected and all this sort of stuff. So I actually remember that time.
It was crazy.
That's amazing.
And do you know what? Do you remember? We do speak about this often sometimes. Do you remember when we had to do the self-working about what we were going to charge? We were crying. We were standing there sobbing. Oh, I can't do it. And it was, look how far we've both come.
Oh, we know, it's incredible. It's incredible. It's so interesting, actually. I met you both at personal development conferences.
Oh,
yes.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
This is so lovely. Yeah. Thank goodness for those courses, is all I could say.
It's like everything just sort of intertwines, and you know, it's the old age looking back during the dots, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's that way, isn't it? And like obviously, Kirsty, I've not physically met you yet, but it's like we chat. Like we literally haven't met yet physically.
Oh my God.
I know, which feels really strange, because I feel like, you know, we have, because we know so much about each other, but we, you know, we're also in touch quite a bit as well, you know. So yeah, and I just think that's the beauty of this sort of community of people like-minded. And when I say like-minded, they're wanting something better for themselves, and maybe they don't know what that is. But I feel, you know, coming together into a personal development place, I feel like you've got a deeper sense of knowing that person before you really do know them. You know, like you can know somebody all their life, and you don't actually know like the intricacies of them. But within this sort of environment, within Rise Tribe and within personal development, I think you've already got a level of understanding, because you're here for a similar reason, wanting something better, a hope for something more or better or whatever. And it puts you a couple of steps ahead of knowing each other.
Yeah, and it's almost like, I mean, I like the phrase soul connection. It's like a soul connection, and it doesn't matter how long or how little you've known someone. If you even just meet someone in a coffee shop and it's like, but there's a soul connection, and I just find that really, really lovely.
But do you know what, Lisa? Sorry to interrupt, but I just can't. You know, just seeing like one of probably your darkest days of, you know, your spinal injury and all the pain that came with that. Look at what has grown from that dark time to take you into reading The Secret, to make you go in, oh, who's this Bob Proctor guy? So then diving down that rabbit hole, and then meeting all the different beautiful souls that you've connected with.
It's been amazing. It really, really has. And it's interesting as well, because my Facebook was hacked in May, I think it was, and I've literally lost that whole account, and it had so many people from varying networks, etc. But do you know what? It actually doesn't matter, because I thought something like that would really bother me. And then I thought, do you know what? I'm at that phase now where people are meant to be in my life. They'll find me, or I'll find them, or we'll just stumble across each other somewhere. And if we don't, then it's okay. And that's one of the big, again, out of that, I'm always looking for the silver lining. There's always a silver lining. So out of that, you know, it's a great big relief, and it's fine. It doesn't matter. It's what it is.
It's what it is, my darling. I really, really love that. And also, I was just reflecting on this being 2012. That was such a pivotal year for people being maneuvered into something new. So for me, it's a big thing in the whole spiritual world. 2012 was like quite a shift year. And so for me, it was when I had my nervous breakdown in 2012, and that's when I decided to do the Pilates thing. And I just think, thank goodness for that year, because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Thank goodness for everything that we've had to go through. And like Kirsty was saying, in our darkest moments, this wouldn't have happened without those situations. And so when we can find the gratitude for those moments, I think that's when we know we've sort of, you know, moved on a little bit in our awareness.
It's that saying as well. It's everything happens for a season, a reason, a lesson, or a blessing. And I think what's important as well is sometimes you just have to accept and let go of a season, because sometimes we try and hold on thinking, no, I've known them for so long, or I've been doing it for so long. And it's all right, just cut the cords, and it's like, just let it just filter naturally without any resistance, you know. And that's I think it's really special, really special.
It's interesting you say that, Lisa, because I was in that position with a friend that we went to school with, college with, university with, you know, like bridesmaids, and then we kind of went our separate ways, and I was really, really cut up about it, blaming myself for the way I think I behaved, and I even apologized to her for my overexcitement, my overzealousness, because kind of that's a bit of my personality anyway. And it's taken me a long time to just go, do you know what? It is what it is. That friendship was, you know, was beautiful at the time, and we've gone our separate ways. That's what happens. And only the last couple of weeks, a friend of mine was out with this person, and she was just, and I was like, oh my goodness, she's going to be absolutely slating me. And Kirsty's this, Kirsty's that. And the next day I met up with my friend that met up with the friend that I've kind of sort of pulled up, you know, lost, if you like. And she goes, Kirsty, she's absolutely devastated about your friendship, you know, sort of going its separate ways. And from that, I just dropped her a message just saying, you know, hi, I hear you were out with Claire, I hear you had a good night, you know, it'd be really nice to just sort of catch up. And she said, Kirsty, I'm away, let's get together. And, you know, we're going to arrange to get together maybe next week, you know. So, and I think, you know, from what you've just saying about that, accepting and letting go, it took me so long to accept this friendship had died, if you like. And I had finally let go of it. And then look what's happened, you know, we're now communicating again, which is really beautiful. So what will come of it? Who knows? I'm, you know, totally in trust of what's meant to be is meant to be. But that acceptance and that letting go is so powerful.
Just with you just saying, I forgot what you just said, but it just triggered something. You know, something else that I do a lot right now, and I even said it today. I did it the other. Well, I do it most days. I just trust and I choose and accept that whatever happens today or in a certain situation is meant to happen for my highest good or for whoever's highest good. And it's like, so I'm not dictating how it's going to be. I'm not deciding how I want it to be. And if it doesn't go like this, and it's like, do you know what? Here's what it is. Here we go. Maybe I should have that tattooed on my wrist.
You know what? That should be the title of our podcast today. This podcast.
Yes.
It is what it is.
There we go. We've just got our title.
We've got the title.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it is. It's just deciding that it will happen. I'm in a very similar situation with you at the minute, Kirsty, with a friendship, probably a couple of friendships actually. And it's a case of like, do you know what? Let's just. There's no malice. There's no nothing. It's just you can just feel it doing this, like filtering out. And if it's meant to be, then so be it. That's fine. You know, grateful.
I think that's it's really lovely. I think when we do, like when we let go, it has an opportunity to come back in a different form. It's when we're trying to hold on to something and it's that friction, and then it can go really horribly wrong. And I'm so happy that you've caught up with your friend Kirst. That's really lovely. And you know, there's friends out there that maybe live in different countries or you don't speak to for a really long time, and you hop on the phone randomly and it's like no time has passed, and you just crack on with a gorgeous conversation. I think, and I love that you're just flowing so beautifully, Lisa, through life right now. It's absolutely amazing. But it's not the easiest path to get there, right? So So tell us a little bit about how you feel that you might have got to this point of what is now looking like ease and grace and flow and, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, firstly, I do feel that I'm very, very, very grateful for my life as it is right now. I've probably got less than I've ever had, but I've got more here in my heart, if that makes sense.
Wow.
And I'm good with that, and I'm really at peace with that. Oh gosh, I would say between the operation in 2012 and then with like my daughter, like with her career and everything, which I'm happy to kind of expand on a little bit, but that was massive. And then just settling down, that's, you know, it was sort of exciting and traumatic at the same time with her career. And then I had a breakup just before lockdown. So break up, lockdown, that literally had a breakdown. And that's when I literally pulled everything away. And I just thought my whole world was crashing down, literally. And I couldn't see an end in sight. I just did not know what I was going to do. And yeah, it was tough. It was really rubbish, actually. And I literally used to just go for a walk like 20 minutes a day and just literally put on any tunes. And I can't actually listen to those songs now because they actually take me back, which not to, but they do. But I literally used to walk around the block for 20 minutes a day and that was it. I didn't know. I literally had no idea how I was going to get myself out of this. And like my son, like Finn, he was absolutely amazing. He probably picked me off the floor many times than he should have done for a young boy. And it was just from there. It was just like something's just not sitting right. You know, I tried to like expand my coaching business, and it was going, actually, to be honest, it was going really, really well. And then it just suddenly came to this brick wall, and I was thinking, what am I doing? This does not sit with me. It's not with me, and I felt overly responsible for all the people that were following me, that I had a membership group, had all, you know, all the, what, you do this and then you do this and then you do this. And I was like, this just doesn't seem, for me, it just didn't feel right. It was, I don't know, I just felt tense, anxious all the time. And I just thought, I literally have to let go of all of this. And that was really hard. So go back to the recovering people pleaser. I didn't want to let people down. I didn't want people to think badly of me. I didn't want this. I didn't want, and it was really, I thought I had healed. Bottom line, I thought I'd healed from a horrendous divorce, all the stuff that happened with the kids, my back, all of these things. I thought I'd cracked it, and I actually realised that I hadn't, and I'd been masking so much pain and so much heartache for years and years and years. Some of the stuff I won't go into, but like years. And gradually I just started to try and rebuild myself, and also let myself off the hook for having really crappy days. Instead of thinking I should be doing this, that was my favourite place over there. Sofa, chocolate, blanket, talking to no one. I literally used to, like that, door open, breeze coming in, and I would just sit there and just do nothing. And it was like my head just needed to unwire and just do this. I also realised, well, I had a lot of therapy. Actually, I had talking therapy, and I still speak to Jo. She's amazing. And she probably knows absolutely every ounce of everything that's ever happened to me. I think that's what helped me start to open up, because I found somebody who, there was no judgment. And I have got a lot of people around me that don't judge me, but for some reason I needed to speak to a stranger. I've never met her. We only talk on the phone. And I remember I would, like, during lockdown, I'd go and literally drive my car to a car park, and I would sit and like sob and sob and sob on the phone to her, not even wanting to be here actually during lockdown. It was really, really awful. And gradually she kind of brought me back a little bit, if that makes sense. And that I realised, oh, do you know what? It's okay to be vulnerable, because I think that's something that I tried not to do. I was always like, I'm all right, I'll be brave for you, and I'll be brave for you, and I'll shoulder all of this. And I forgot to actually say, do you know what? I feel really crap today, because I thought I had to have this persona. And it's taken me quite a long time to admit that, because at the time I was just like, oh, fine. No, I'm not. I'm actually falling apart. And probably going through that breakup was probably in some ways even worse than my marriage breakup, because there was no real reason apart from we just started to just grow apart. and dealing with knowing that somebody was really hurting at my expense was like really, really tough. I have forgiven myself now, you know, and it's brought me to now, and it's okay. And through all of this journey, you know, obviously I've watched Sam grow and what she's doing. And can I mention Thailand, please?
Yes, of course you can, honey.
Okay, here's the thing. Through the last few years, I've done like lots of healing, tried lots of different types of healing. And then Sam, was it 2020? It was the December.
It was 21, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Sam said she was going to Mexico. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then literally quite quickly, she was like, Lace, you just have to experience what is happening here and what I'm training in, da, 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 da. And she's like, come out. And I was like, oh yeah, of course I will. I was bricking it because I knew I wanted to, but I was so flipping scared. And I was like, oh, anyway, cut a long story short, it took about a year of me kind of watching what Sam was doing, us having little conversations and stuff. And me go, yeah, I'll come to Mexico. Yeah. And then one day I was like, do you know what? Nothing's going to change unless I change something. And a part of me, I knew that if I was going to go and see her, it wouldn't be just like a 10-day thing. I'd have to really commit to it. And this is where the interesting thing is. It was part of me was like, how can I leave my kids, even though they're in their 20s? I've never, ever, ever me gone, kids, I'm going away for 3.5 weeks or whatever it was. I've never done that. They've left me, and this is part of like the codependency that I now realise there was, because of being a single parent, we glued together, and so everything was for them. Everything I did was for them, because I didn't have it for myself. I couldn't bring myself to look out for myself as much as that. It had to be for the kids. So when they start to grow up, it's like this, and it's like, oh, especially being a single parent. Even in relationships, I still very much like the single parent. So I was like, oh my God. So I spoke to them. I was like, I really, really want to do this. I really would like your support. They're like, Mom, just go and do it. Go for as long as you want. I was like, oh, you're not supposed to say that. But then, so, long story short, last about September, October, I said to Sam, right, I'm going to start saving for Mexico. And it got to about the November, and I was like, I've got enough for the flight, blah, blah, blah. I'll come next year. I'll come sort of get my dad's birthday out of the way, my birthday out of the way, and I will come sort of February, March time. And she kept saying, have you booked your flights yet? And I was like, no, because I was scared. I was bricking it. I kept looking for the flights, and I was really scared. It was like when I went to Canada for the Bob Proctor thing, but that was only like 6 months. I remember thinking, oh! And what actually weirdly, when I went to Canada, I was crying when I left, like as you do. And Finn was 10 at the time, and he's like, Mum, why are you crying? I was like, because I'm leaving you. And he went, Mum, but you drop me off at school every day and leave me every day. And I was like, oh, okay, out of the mouth.
It's so matter of fact,
logical.
It's like, damn. So then I thought that I used that again in my head. I was like, oh God, it's like, for God's sake, it's 3 weeks. Sort yourself out. Anyway, Sam messaged again. She went, have you booked your flights? I went, no, I'm going to do it tonight. And she went, don't book it. I'm not going to be in Mexico. I'm going to Thailand. I was like, what? I was like, right, I'm coming. And because it was Buddha's, and I thought Buddha over that, I was just like, I'm coming. So literally within a week, the flights were booked, and I do not know how I did it, but somehow the money appeared. And one of my biggest lessons from all of this is you have to direct your money to be somewhere. You can't just put it in a bank and hope. It's like, okay, I'm like the camper van. I've just hired a camper van for 5 days. Suddenly gone, boom, 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 done, because I made the decision and I stuck to it. Anyway, off I went to Thailand for Sam's incredible healing, and she's got these little elbows that do all sorts of crazy, wonderful shit to you.
Crazy, wonderful shit.
That's the right way to put it, Lisa.
Well, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, that was an experience. It was liberating, scary, friggin' hilarious. The stuff that came out subconscious wise, my God, Sam, the songs, like I was singing songs and like shouting obscenities and screaming and laughing.
So incredible.
It was unreal. And if anybody doesn't know, it's just to release this trauma from your body that's been held on this cellular level. And I'm like, yeah, right. Oh my God, different person. like seriously, such a different person. And to literally just be all in, and it wasn't about going sightseeing. I mean, obviously we did do some of that, but it was all about these treatments. And I think that's the first time I can honestly say in my whole life, and I've been here 54 years, I've never ever given myself the gift of 3 weeks to do what I wanted to do. And that was really, really special. And I think to be met with the compassion from Sam, the trust, the non-judgment, that I could say anything and I was just met with love. And Sam, honestly, I'm forever grateful, because it has literally been life-changing for me. Absolutely life-changing. And to come back and still have, I mean, I really am more of a hippie now than ever. Even my friends, they joke like, oh God, here she comes. Here she comes. No, but it's, I just feel really at peace. And it's almost like, because I've experienced how much trauma I was holding, and I don't know where half of it came from, because my body had just collected it along the way. But to now know how much my beautiful body had been in pain looking after me, I'm trying to be as kind to my body now, because it's housing me. And I know it all sounds a bit cliche, but I'm looking at my body like, amazing. You've really seen me. You've protected me through all of this. I'm so sorry I put you through all of that, because all you've been doing is trying to protect me. And my whole lifestyle changed out there, and it's pretty much stayed the same. It's quite tricky coming from that culture back to this culture. And I was thinking, even yesterday, I was like, I think I might have just found a nice little balance. It's not to the point of like how it was in Thailand, but it's so freaking healthy that I even shock myself, you know. But the biggest thing that I've learned is I don't hold any guilt for anything that I say or do now. I used to have a big thing, you know, like, oh, shouldn't eat that. Oh God, that's going to make you fat, and all this and all of these things. And now I'm like, Sam, the phrase, the cake don't stick. I'll eat it. If I want to drink it, I'll drink it. But I really have got a nice balance, and it's lovely. And it's like, you know, if I have a little moment of maybe having a few more things than I would normally, since my experience, I'm just like, oh well, start again tomorrow. And I don't carry any sort of guilt. But the biggest thing is I can literally look in the mirror now and just bloody love you. Bloody love you. I wink at myself and leave the house in the morning, get ready. I go back to the mirror and I go like that, little wink, and off I go.
All right, darling.
I do, it's literally all right.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
So it's fun. Life is fun. And even I've separated it all into parts. Like today's been a really, really exhausting day. But it's like, okay, it's just part of me that's tired. It's because, of course, I've been bloody tired. It's been full on and quite stressful. So of course I'm a bit tired. But right now I'm like, come on, girls, let's go.
Let's go. Oh, it's so lovely to hear you talk about that. And it was an amazing experience for both of us, I think. And I just so appreciate your trust and everything that you did over that 10 years or however long, when you took that step onto the plane to Canada to go and do the Bob Proctor, that was the first big thing. Like, it takes us to take that leap, no matter how big or small we perceive it to be, to start this journey going. And even just the baby steps, we just start from where you're at. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but at some point everything you do will lead you to that. And then I really do think a big immersion like that is something that you won't be able to not change from.
No.
And the reason for it, and it doesn't even matter exactly what it is. I mean, you went down the trauma release route with me, which has obviously been really profound, but it could be anything, actually, depending on where you're at in your life and what you want to do. It's removing yourself for a long enough time from your daily life patterns.
And that is the gift, environment. And I know it's been spoken about quite a lot, but removing yourself from your usual. And then coming back and knowing that you don't have to be attached to that environment, if that makes sense. where I live. It's not my forever at all. I'm here by default, but I'm choosing to go off more now, because the more I go off, the more I'm detaching from here. So I love my friends, I love my family, everyone who's here I love, but I know I'm getting ready to pull away. And this is like why I've hired the camper van, just go off. What do I want to do? And it's exciting. It's exciting. And also, you know, I do keep stepping into new things, and some of it sits right, some of it doesn't. And it's like, okay, well, I tried that. That doesn't feel so great today, so I'm not going to do it. And then not feeling that you're letting people down, because you're actually not. Because I think, if anything, you're letting yourself down if you stay somewhere where you don't want to be for the sake of saving face and grace and all of that malarkey. It's like, what's the point? What's the point?
And then you're
Absolutely. And you're
also,
the
sorry, darling, you're
No,
also then not giving your like the best of you to those
No.
people. So they're actually
Yeah.
getting like just the scraps.
Yeah.
And,
They're getting
and
the
bits.
frustrated version of you, aren't they? Because
Yeah.
you're frustrated because you know there's something more for you, but you're playing a smaller version because of what other people will think, or, you know,
Yeah.
just making sure everybody else is happy, and, you know,
Yeah.
you at the back of the line.
Yeah. And one of the biggest things that I feel is, and I don't know, I don't feel it's an excuse for not going like all out, but I am going all out in being myself, if that makes sense. Because I used to try and be like, I need to be like speaking on stage, and I was doing all of that stuff and doing workshops in the city and all of these amazing things, but there was just something missing. And I now realize I wasn't being completely myself, because I thought, oh, I better do that, and I better wear this, and I better do this, and I should.
Well, it was sitting in that box of being a coach, wasn't it? Coaches, what do? They coach, they speak, they do workshops, they, you know, check. But is that really what you want to do?
No, I've tried a podcast, and everyone's going, oh, it's great. And I'm thinking, nah, it just doesn't sit right with me. It just doesn't sit right. So I'm just going to stop. And it was a big, yeah. Do you know something, right? And this, I don't know if I've said this to you before, but Fern Cotton, she has her Happy Place podcast. One that she was doing, and she was talking about how she made the transition from television to podcast, radio, etc., etc. And it was literally about her journey and what she'd been through. And literally, she just, and this is really was, I was driving my car where I was driving. I always listen to it in the car. And she just went, you know, one day I just thought, oh, don't do that anymore. And I changed my mind. And I was like, oh, and that was how simple it was. I was like, she changed her mind.
The freedom.
Oh yeah, I can do that. I can do that. So I did. And what I really think now is, and I'm going to put this to you two as well, because you are absolutely little beams of light. If you think of every single person in this whole world, and we are all shining our own unique little light, wherever we go, we are shining our light. If you look down on the earth and you've got all these little lovely little beams of light being themselves, the earth is just going to light up, and it's just going to be so special. But you get to choose what kind of beam of light you want to be. You might be a multi-million blah blah blah. You might be the person in the shop going, hi, how are you, how's your day, would you like me to walk your dog for you? It doesn't matter. And I going what you were saying back to perspective, Sam, it doesn't bloody matter how big, how this, what this, it doesn't matter, as long as you are being true to yourself. And if other people get the hump with you, that's on them, that's their perspective, and that's where, you know, they might want the best for you, but that's on their timeline. Maybe your timeline isn't quite ready for that yet. And I think it's so important that people just back off and let people be on their own bloody timelines. Does that make sense? And it's okay. Just be your light. Shine your light, whatever it is. Shine your own little light, and it's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing matters. It's all good. It's all good.
And I love what you say, Lisa, you know, just about just following what lights you up and what gives you joy. That's literally where you're at right now, isn't it? You know, I'm just doing what brings me joy, and everything else doesn't matter. Yeah,
exactly. Even like yesterday, like I said, I knew today was going to be a bit of a crazy one. So I didn't get to the gym. I thought, right, I'll just go for a walk. And it was beautiful. I woke up really early. I was out the door by 6:20. I was in my gym clothes, walking out the door. The sun was coming up. I just stood like that in front of the sun. And I just stood there. And everyone else is walking and driving to work. And they're probably looking at me thinking, what? I was like, look at that sun. It was lovely. And I went literally did my 20-minute that I used to do. But I was like, oh my God, look how far I've come. Look how
so beautiful.
And it was really special, really special.
So
I bet
good.
everybody else was like, I wish I could do that, but I'm too busy. I'm late. I'm running around, you know. Yeah.
So, you know, with what I get to do, I do get to choose. And I get to change my mind regularly, because I am a little bit of a monkey like that. I do chop and change what I like doing. So
you and me both, honey. Maybe that's why we get on so well, right? That little magpie. I don't know, that might have to be the title of this. Go all out on being yourself. I mean, that's fucking genius, love. That's absolutely brilliant.
I like
Because we've all been sort of programmed, especially, we spoke about this earlier, as all being coaches and programmed into a certain way of doing things. And I'm like, and I think that's what we're doing with Rise, isn't it, Kirst? It's like, just be yourself, go at your own pace, be all in and all on social media and things if you want to, and then at certain times you don't, and then you can retract and do what you need to do. Like, doesn't have to be this schedule, and there doesn't have to be this particular way of doing things. And going back to what I really love about cyclical living and just like in flow, and that just epitomizes it. And this thing about shining your light, and then there's that whole thing like, we should be doing more, we should do what you want to do. And like you say, if it's helping one person a week or a month or just in your community and being the smile that everyone gets to see on that day, then that's enough. It's really fine. Stop putting so much pressure
pull that back
on yourself.
pull that back a little bit, Sam. If it's helping you, if you can help yourself, because some days, let's face it,
it's just,
you know, we have got nothing to give to others, and we've got, you know, we're literally running on empty. So if those days all you can do is give to yourself, do you know what? In I don't even know what the word is, but by giving to yourself, you're giving to others around you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely are.
Because, you know, how many, like, so for example, Sunday, I literally just wanted to be at home, and everyone's like, oh, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm having a home day. That's it. I'm staying at home. And then somebody else went, oh, do you know what? I haven't done that for a long time. And then they were like, oh, you know what? I actually, Monday, I did da da da. And I was like, oh. So just by me going, like, back off world, I'm just staying home today. I'm just going to float around in my flat, light a few candles, and just sit and do bugger all, actually. It was bliss. It was lovely. It was so great. And just something I wanted to say as well. I don't like the word procrastinate, but I'm going to just bring it in. I really honestly think when the word, it's another label, when people say, oh, you're procrastinating, actually, maybe that person isn't procrastinating. Maybe they just actually realize they're not connecting with what that is supposed to be that they're doing. So it doesn't sit right. Does that make sense?
Not aligned.
Yes, exactly. And that's I don't know. I'm sorry, I've kind of gone off tack there.
No,
but
we're all about tangents.
Go for it. We love a tangent.
Who are you? Where are you from? But it was literally that when I was going through my, you know, like the lockdown thing, and I was trying to get the coaching thing going, and it was really going well, but it just wasn't sitting right, you know, in the circle that I was in at that time, which I'm no longer in. It was very much like, oh, you're this, you should be this, and you should. And I was just like, do you know what? You're just bringing me down. You're not encouraging me in any way, shape, or form. This does not feel right. And it was like taking a big bloody plaster off the biggest cut ever to pull away. And now it's like, yeah, it just wasn't for me. It doesn't matter that I had a lovely website that cost whatever. It doesn't matter that I invested da da da. I don't fucking care. Sorry, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, I swear all the time, babe. Come on.
Man,
We're Essex, babe. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I just don't care anymore, and it's fine.
But Lisa, can I just say the courage for you to do that? You know, because you've got this like moving train that, you know, that you've got people within your membership, you know, all this sort of stuff. To have the courage to go, this isn't serving me. And you probably, you know, you probably didn't think about this at the time, maybe you did, but because it's not serving me, I can't fully serve these people that are trusting in me to guide them. And for you to go, do you know what, I'm ripping this band-aid off and I'm walking away from it. That takes so much courage, because again, you know, we're in this society, it's there like, well, and again in the personal development world, which has really it's really had me unstuck. Quitters never win, winners never quit. You know, but how I see it, it's not quitting, it's pivoting. You know, and we're always changing, we're always transforming, because we're on this path of self-discovery and knowing ourselves better. You know, that was a season that you were in, and that season no longer fitted this beautiful butterfly that you are, because you know you've got some extra colors added to you. So it's like, right, do you know what, I'm going to have the courage. And courage is not comfortable, is it? Confidence is comfortable. Courage is so uncomfortable. And the fact that you did that, I really want to acknowledge you for that, Lisa, because I know I've stayed in things longer than what I really should have because of that. Because, oh my goodness, everybody knows I do this. You know, like I've spoken about this to everybody. You know, keep going because of what other people think.
Yeah, and it's I think one of the things as well, you know, being a recovering people pleaser, is I used to need to be needed. I really did. It gave me worth, which I didn't realise until I'd obviously pulled away, done all the therapy, peeled myself off the floor and all the rest of it. And now it's like the only thing that I need is me, and everything else is a bonus. Literally, everything else is a bonus. So, you know, letting go of all of that and all these people that I felt responsible for, especially in lockdown, my God, you know, we were all going into shock. But what I also realise is when there's a crisis, I kick into rescuer mode massively. And obviously this crisis was ongoing. And it got to points like I can't cope with this. I just can't do this, because there's not an end to this one. It's not like someone's just broken their leg and I'll go and then it's like fine, and then I'll go into shock for a minute and then I'll sort myself out and I'm fine. This was long. I thought, oh, it's only been 2 weeks. Of course it wasn't, was it? And all the rest of it. And then everyone was in shock, and I was in shock, being responsible for people in shock. And I can't cope with this responsibility. And some people were very accepting and encouraging, and other people weren't. And that's what got me down as well. It's like, I can't, these are not my people. These are not my people. That is not my person. I can't do this.
And what a gift that is, to realise who your people are not.
Absolutely.
Right. And then know that actually we get to choose who our people are.
Yes.
And I know for me, like what you were saying about courage, Kirsty, is so spot on, because that is the really tough path, I think. Is the courage to know, and pivot is one of my favorite words. I feel like I'm forever pivoting at the moment. Literally, honestly, with all of this lockdown and all that malarkey, which we won't go too massively into, like we've had to do nothing but fucking pivot on this stuff the whole time, right? And I just got all caught up in my headphones. And I just, so the courage is amazing, but it is something that we also learn and build as we go. So like taking the little steps to begin with, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I just think that whole lockdown scenario was huge gifts in many ways. It made us all reevaluate what is important in our lives, and where we want to be and who we want to spend our time with. That was the thing for me. And I mean, I talk about this often. I feel so blessed to have the friend circle that I have. And in a way I feel really lucky, but in a way I know we've all worked really hard for it and done the work. And going back to what you were saying about the level that we get to know each other when we're doing this work, and we kind of forward step a couple because of the depths and the vulnerability that we get to, that for me is the real gift in this work as well. It's like you're able to self-reflect, you're able to go in really deep and be supported by others that are either a few steps ahead, a few steps sideways, a few steps, doesn't really matter. But there's that kind of initial, we want more out of life. We're not quite sure what it is just yet, but there is something else. And we get to do that together in a supportive environment. And And I love that we get to give that to people that haven't got that. I've met so many people throughout this whole last couple of years, and a lot that ended up in Mexico for whatever reason. And they had absolutely no one to talk to or communicate with about some of their stuff. And I'm like, wow, I've got my girls, man. This is
Mm.
incredible. So how do
Yeah,
we help other people find that? Because I think that's what's really missing.
definitely. And I think as well, it's always meet people where they're at, you know,
Yeah,
because going back to the timeline thing, everyone's on their own timeline. So, you know, we can't expect to speak to every single person every day who's on the same wavelength as us. And when I know from experience, you know, when I've been not in the best place or even in a great place, but just not, my awareness hadn't grown as much as maybe it has now, and it's obviously still going to grow. It's going to never stop
yeah,
growing, but it's just meet people where they're at with compassion for who they are, for their journey to now, the way they perceive things, and then it just takes away any angst, any negativity of any sort. Really, it's just that's what they feel, and that's okay. And
and that's
also,
okay.
yeah, when you meet people like that, you go, well, that's fine if you feel like that. I think a lot of people are expecting you to be fired at, you know,
Mm.
but that is their perspective, and they've got every right based on their awareness and based on their knowledge and life and all of that. And it just takes all the stress out of it.
Yeah,
And life flows. It's so much easier.
it really does. And I really love what you said about responsibility, because actually a real pivotal moment for me was realizing I am not responsible for everyone.
So
I can
What you
share
said.
where I'm at, and if it resonates with you, great. If you want more, great. But we don't need to fight about this. It's
no,
not.
Mm.
It's not my
no.
business, basically.
You know something as well. It's like if when you become a calmer person, we know the drill. What we are, we reflect back, right? So the calmer you are, the less argumentative you are, everything around just flows. And it's like so many people go, "Oh, I've had an awful day, like road rage, and rah, rah this happened, and rah, rah that happened." I'm thinking, are we in the same place? You know, and it's just so it's just everything just I just put it out there every day. Just today is great. My life is just going to flow today, and what comes comes, and what doesn't, and what happens is meant to happen. And yeah, and I thought, oh, that was meant to happen. Don't worry about it. You know, it's fine. It's always a
And that,
solution.
yeah, and that's the other thing as well with that, you know, like somebody gets road rage or somebody's losing the plot or whatever, you know, like it's being non-judgmental and going, do you know what, you just don't know what that person is going through at that time, you know, so it's just, you know, when I ever see that now, because I'm going through a real sort of judgment detox myself, you know, I'm just reading through this program that I'm going through. And one of them is about releasing your limiting beliefs, and limiting beliefs are wrapped in judgments. And I've just been, you know, working on releasing my judgment that I have on people. Come on, let's face it, we're all human. We all judge because that's how we sort of, you know, how we see ourselves in the world, by, you know, looking at other people and seeing where they're at. But I'm kind of at a place where I just want to let it go. And what I do now, if I see somebody who's got that road rage, you know, maybe towards me or somebody else, I just send them a blessing, and I just say, I bless you with pure love and light. I bless you with pure source energy. And that's what I'm, you know, when I find myself judging, I'll, you know, again, it comes back to that awareness, doesn't it? And it's there like, ah, Kirsty, you're judging. I don't say it out loud. I just, you know, sort of say it in my head. And I'll turn it around, but I'll also just send them one of those a little blessing, just to sort of counteract my negativity that I'm putting on them through my judgment. So it's just, yeah, meeting people where they are. Absolutely no judgment whatsoever, because we just don't know what people are going through, have been through. You know, for them to be in that state of being in that moment.
Yeah, no, it's so true. It's lovely. Oh, it's lovely. Really enjoying
It's been
this.
so good. Really,
Yeah.
really lovely. Okay, I'm going to bring this too, because so Kirsty and I, we've started Rise and Rise Tribe recently, and we have an acronym for our name, Rise. So I'm just going to ask you I'm going to read the words out to you, and I just want you to let me know either what has this meant on your journey, or how does it make you feel, or what do you take from these certain words. So our first word is rejuvenate, and what does that make you think or feel, or how has that been impacting your life?
So right now, as you say that, rejuvenate, I always think of blossom, like a flower blossoming. And I just think we are absolutely fine exactly as we are. We're great as we are, but it's just almost like rejuvenating from releasing, letting go, doing the work, all of those. it's rejuvenating what is already our essence and then just growing it again rather than finding something new. You don't need to find anything new. You just strip back to who you actually are. So that's yeah, I think that's what just came to me.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Wow.
I love that when you say your essence. It's almost like, you know, that blossom seed is planted. You're going to get a blossom tree, you know, there's nothing else you're going to get from that. And then, you know, from that seed, that rejuvenation of that blossom plant regrowing, and so beautiful.
I've just got it's made me a little bit homesick actually. I've got cherry blossom, like big cherry blossom trees, and they it's so lovely. Thank you for that image. Pink blossoms. What about inspire, Lisa?
Inspire, to be inspired and to inspire. And again, by being your real true self, you can inspire others, but by other people being their real true selves, we are inspired as well. So it's just like this lovely this circle of energy. So yeah.
Love.
Yeah.
The ripple effect.
Really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
And it's an energy exchange then as well, isn't it? It's yeah.
And I think that gets forgotten quite a lot, the energy exchange. It needs to be. And it doesn't matter what energy it is. It's just a mutual thing, isn't it? Look, I keep using my hands a lot. But it is.
Very creative, that's why. Light language, hey honey.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Kirst, do you want to go with the next one?
I was going okay, next one is strengthen, Lisa.
Strengthen. Just strengthen who you already are. Strengthen what is, not what you think it should be. Strengthen what is. Strengthen what is. Yeah, does that make sense?
It really does.
Yeah, that comes back to you, like you were talking about rejuvenating your essence.
Yeah, just what is.
Just strengthen that essence of who you be.
Yeah, and
already.
Sorry,
go on. Sorry, darling. No, go, Lise.
Tap into your attributes. You know, let go of the stuff that makes you feel a bit pants. And you know, we've all and like I say, this changes on every day. So just go with what you want to strengthen that makes you feel good. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Whatever it is, and it could also be like removing yourself. Strengthen your choices to remove yourself. Don't feel you've got to go all in strengthening. Oh, I better do that. No, if it doesn't feel right, walk away, move away, even whatever you want.
And sometimes that is the strongest thing you can possibly do.
Yeah.
And the most courageous. And also, like, look back on what you've already achieved and love that, and then strengthen what you've already got. Like, we've already achieved so much throughout our lives. Everyone has. There's no way you haven't. No. Reflect on that and move forward with that and strengthen that, rather than thinking you've always got to do something new, which is definitely something that I've felt a lot. I've always had to do the next thing. And I'm like, damn, we've got enough. Let's just strengthen that. That's beautiful. Thank you, darling.
And the last one of Rise is E, elevate. What does that mean to you? Or what is that? How have you brought that into your journey, if you have? So.
Something that I always say to my daughter, especially, and my son, is just keep rising. Wherever you're at, keep rising. So yeah, just keep everything light and airy. Things just don't have to be heavy and deep, and just elevate. Just lightness. That's what it feels to me. Lightness. Here I go with the hands. Lightness.
All gods. The hands are gods. The gestures are gods.
Yeah. Just keep rising. Whatever it means to you, just keep rising.
I've got a vision of a balloon, you know, like just full of beautiful air, just rising up into the sky, and it's only going to do that because it's light. If it's got a weight on it, it ain't going to rise. It isn't going to elevate. No. It's going to stay stuck on the ground. So
I love that. So you can, instead of like pushing and elevating and pulling and rising, and you just let it all go and
Absolutely.
flow.
Absolutely.
That's really
Do
nice.
you know what? It comes back to that acceptance and letting go.
Yeah.
It really comes back to that, doesn't it?
It really does. No rule book. There's no rule book.
No.
A rule book. You just make your own as you go along and change it as you choose. So much easier.
So much easier. Yeah. It took a journey to get to that point, right?
Just a tiny little one, you know.
And I just want to say, Lise, thank you so much for sharing your vulnerability, because to look at you now and listen to you, it's like it's all light and floaty and fairies and just like living life, and I do what I want when I want, and it is what it is. But man, you've come through some mud and some trudge and all of these things to get to this point. And I think for other people to hear that and bear witness to just a few of the things that you've walked through gives other people hope and inspiration, and that they can do it too. And there is always a big fat messy middle, right? Always. And you don't escape that, unfortunately, or fortunately, because that's how we become who we are.
That's the growth, isn't it?
That's it. And it's like, you know, like you go and buy, it's in a book, and I think it was U Squared by Price Pritchard. Bob Proctor used to talk about it. But it was like, you want to make a cake, you have all the nice ingredients in their nice little packets, and then you have the lovely cake at the end of it, and then you have the absolute trash of a kitchen in between, and nobody bloody sees the kitchen all messed up. They just see the cake, oh, lush. So yeah, you have to go through the pants bit. You have to. And it's bloody painful. But yeah, and it can take years, and it has done for me, and I've still got a way to go, but it's worth it. You know, it comes to the opposite. You know, there's always a balance. There's always a polarity, isn't there, with pain?
There's always a balance, yeah.
But also, Lisa, you know, you're saying I've still got way to go. Do we ever get there in the end anyway?
Never.
No, we don't. But you know, something that I'm really learning. We did an exercise yesterday on, you know, like just looking back and looking at where you were when you first started this journey, and then where are you now? And you know, and I just think that's such an important thing to do, which, you know, like I'm so bad at doing, but just doing this exercise yesterday just really made me realize, okay, I've still got so far to go, but my God, have I come so far? And I just think it's really important for everybody, you know, even if you're just starting this personal development journey and looking into yourself, you know, like, who were you when you first dived into this, and who are you now, maybe a week in, you know, of just becoming more aware. You know, what's changed. I think it's just so crucial.
Also, you know, this big thing about success, you've got to be this, you've got to be this. Well, actually, you know, and you've probably heard this before, but I'm just going to reiterate it. We have a 100% success rate, because every bloody day we show up, and every day we step through it, and every day we go to sleep and we wake up again. We are successful.
And we're breathing. Successful.
Exactly. That's it. That's it. We are.
Everything else is a bonus.
Exactly that.
Everything else is a bonus. And yeah, if you can get to the point of just being grateful for waking up and breathing, then that's a good start to the day, right? That's really, really great. And what I would say also about this work as well is it is now finally, I feel like we're moving through the difficulties or the challenges, etc., faster. We've got more tools that we can pull on. We get to choose what tools. It's like the work does work. It's just a windy old road. That's all.
That's it. The shit still hits the fan, but you've got some tools to deal with it.
You'll never go back to where you were before. You'll never go back. Even if you feel like you've bounced back and you've like bobbed off the apple cart for a bit, you haven't, because you once you've seen something, you will never forget it. Your brain goes
exactly. Oh, that's so amazing.
You're bringing that wisdom and experience with you, you know, like, instead of saying I've got to, you know, I'm starting from scratch. You're not starting from scratch. You're starting a new spot with all that wisdom, all that experience that you've got from it. So you're way further ahead than where you were before you started. So yeah. Oh, Lisa, what a beautiful, beautiful conversation. Absolutely loved it.
I've got another question. I hope that's all right. Here we go.
No,
We're going to go well
absolutely.
over the hour. What's next for you, darling? What's happening in your life, and where do you see yourself in a year, let's say?
Camper van incoming.
Yay.
Van incoming. That is my thing. It really is. It's just the freedom. I am a little hippie. I'm stepping into that more now. So yeah, it is like the long term thing, and I don't know how whatever else will go on at the time. But all I keep saying is, I will have my camper van, and at some point I will have a base. I don't know where yet. I have no idea. I want more traveling. I want a base. So when I'm in the base, I have my camper van. I hire the camper van out. When I'm in the camper van, I Airbnb the base. So I've constantly got funds coming in, if you like. But more than ever, it's more traveling. I've been a parent for 26 years, and I'm at a point where, like, me and the kids are so flipping close, young adults, but we're so close, but we just want the best for each other. And it's almost like I've got to that point now where, they are self-sufficient, and it's suddenly like, shit, what do I want? And it's quite scary. So now it's like, well, what did I always want to do that I didn't do because I was either not confident enough, or was pregnant or married or going through whatever? What did I want to do? I just wanted to get off and go, and that's what I'm doing now. So yeah, the next year is more travel, camper van, doing what I want when I want, really, and whatever else comes in comes in. I don't know.
Wow. And Lisa, just going back to talking about success, like, you've got 20-something-year-old kids that you are so close, and you just want the best for each other. My God, lady, I want to call that huge success. Like, I'm just going into the teenage years with my daughter, and it's dynamite. And it's like, and Lisa said to me, because you come out the other end, and they become, they talk to you again, and the fact that you've come through that rocky road of teenage, and you're so close, and so connected. Wow, like, success there, 1,000,000%. Just that's what I wish for. That's what I wish for me and my kids. So I'll be asking for some advice, Lisa.
Anytime. Do you know something? What's hilarious is we have these chats now, and they go, Mum, do you remember when I was 15 and da-da-da-da? And they go, well, actually, we were doing this. And I was like, I knew it. I knew you were. So it's like all these revelations. I was like, I knew you were up to no good.
Yeah, you're like, I knew. Mum's intuition.
Really.
Kirst, I just got to say, I love what you just said about Phoebe Dynamite. She is totally dynamite. Like, she's just amazing. And I always say this about your kids, Kirst. They're so blessed, because you and hubby Ian are doing all of this work and showing them a different way to the standard life already. So yeah, as much as they're good, well, of course they're going to test you, because they're watching you guys grow, right? So
I know, and pushing boundaries, and like colouring outside the lines and all that.
So you get what you give, right?
Yeah, well, absolutely. We asked for it. We wanted free spirits, that had their own minds. My goodness, that can come with a challenge.
There you go. It'll be worth it, though, darling. It will be so worth it.
Absolutely.
Well done.
Well, Lisa, this has been such a good conversation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and Lisa, thank you for being the evidence to other people that you can go through such turmoil and trauma, and look where you are now. If that doesn't say, get yourself around people that will support you and dive into this work, I don't know what else does. So thank you for being the evidence, Lisa, for and having the courage to walk this path.
Thank you, my love. Thanks. Thank you.
So inspiring.
It's amazing. Thank you, darling. And thank you, everyone, for joining. We'll be back with another episode of Rise Tribe really soon. But we really hope you've enjoyed the first ever Rise Tribe podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you soon. Loads of love.
Bye.